nigga.
I'm looking right, baby. She wanna lick, I'm only out here for the night, baby. On Puerto Rico, Casamigos with the Sprite, baby. She wanna fuck with the scammers, talk to me nice, baby. She hit the bottle and the hoe just wobble wobble. Just thought he fucking for a fight, the cobble wobble. African twin, he spin, hit the throttle. She wanna fuck with the gangsters, talk to me nice, baby. Finish the bottle when I hope then she a model. She in the mirror like it's showtime, the Apollo. Catch up the phone, now I pull up in the Tahoe. Thought it's boring, I ain't calling unless she swallow. She don't listen, I ain't tripping, she don't follow. Got another wetty swerving on her potholes. Got another thought, he thinks she hit the lotto. She pop a perky, then she chase it with Moscato. This bitch is bad, she fucking all the drug dealers. I took his bitch and then I took his plug, nigga. Have her back, I'm getting to the bag, nigga. Bust in your house, I'm running through your stash, nigga. On the grand flashing all that cash, nigga. Part in my back, I'm counting all these stacks, nigga. Gucci duffel Louis on my ass, nigga. Hennessy and TNT, we blast, nigga. Ferragamo on my chest, I'm looking right, baby. She wanna link, I'm only out here for the night, baby. On Puerto Rico, Casamigos with the Sprite, baby. She wanna fuck with the scammers, talk to me nice, baby. She hit the bottle and the hoe just wobble wobble. Just thought he fucking for a fight, the cobble wobble. African twin, he spin, hit the throttle. She wanna fuck with the gangsters, talk to me nice, baby. This whole insect, she fucking on the damn crew. Coming out of sight, she lost her damn shoe. Her friend is poppin', she ain't got no damn clue. Rollin' O's and weed and smoking bamboo. Smoking gelato when the Tahoe smell the fucking jar. She wanna ride with me cause we look like some movie stars. The stody moving faster than a speeding car. Coming through the door with no panties on. Poppin' Molly's and you know she took a Zanny bar. Talking about a Mazda is a family car. I hit her with a curve, then the coup de grace. Zillow games, I'm shaking up the dice, baby. She wanna stay with me so we can make the night, baby. She wanna be with me so I can lay the pipe, baby. I'm only out here for the night, baby. I'm only out here for the night, baby. Ferragamo on my chest, I'm looking right, baby. She wanna link, I'm only out here for the night, baby. On Puerto Rico, Casamigos with the Sprite, baby. She wanna fuck with the scammers, talk to me nice, baby. She hit the bottle and the hoe just wobble wobble. Just thought he fucking for a fight, the cobble wobble. African twin, he spin, hit the throttle. She wanna fuck with the gangsters, talk to me nice, baby.
Welcome to the check-in report. I am your humble host, True and Living. I am in the building. I'm not your homie. I'm the one and only Macaroni. Welcome to the show, y'all. The vice presidential debate went down today against J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. We're going to be taking a gander at that. We're going to be taking a look at that together as a family, guys. But who won? Let me know who won. You know, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it today. Who do you think won tonight?
Oh my God!
Who do you think won tonight? We're gonna watch it together. We're gonna grade it together. But let me know in the chat, who do you think won tonight? I think J.D. Vance caught a body. I think J.D. Vance won the debate.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Some people will disagree. Some people will say, no. You know, they love Tim Walz filibustering every question. But indirectly not answering anything. I think Tampon Timmy, you know, he lost tonight. I think he lost tonight. I got to be honest. But we're going to watch it together and let me know, who do you think won tonight? Do you think Tampon Timmy won? Do you think J.D. Vance won? Who won tonight according to you? That's what I want to know tonight. Without any further ado, let's get right into it.
1,000 dock workers from Maine to Texas are picketing. We're going to begin tonight with the Middle East. Margaret.
Thank you, Nora. Earlier today, Iran launched its largest attack yet on Israel, but that attack failed, thanks to joint U.S. and Israeli defensive action. President Biden has deployed more than 40,000 U.S. military personnel and assets to that region over the past year to try to prevent a regional war. Iran is weakened. But the U.S. still considers it the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and it has drastically reduced the time it would take to develop a nuclear weapon. It is down now to 1 or 2 weeks' time. Governor Walz, if you were the final voice in the Situation Room, would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel?
We know what Tampon Timmy is going to do. If Tampon Timmy were to ever be in control of the United States, we already know he's gonna drop off a year's supply of tampons. That's what he's gonna do. Tampon Timmy's solution to every problem is sending a lifetime supply of tampons.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
A war in the Middle East, send them tampons.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
China circling Taiwan, a circle in Taiwan with warships, send Taiwan some tampons.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Ukraine and Russia, they're going back and forth and back. Send them both tampons.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Tampon Timmy, that's his solution to everything. Let's be honest here, but let's continue.
On Iran, you have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, and thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists.
Someone said JD did so well. I agree. I think JD won tonight. That's who I think won tonight. I think JD took Tim Walz's food tonight. Tim Walz was just, he filler busted a lot of questions. He didn't really get to the meat and potatoes of answering questions. He was filibustering a lot of things, but we're going to get into it tonight.
Massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners. Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter. It's clear, and the world saw it on that debate stage a few weeks ago, a nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment. But it's not just that. It's those that were closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is when the world is this dangerous. His chief of staff, John Kelly, said that he was the most flawed human being he'd ever met. And both of his secretaries of defense and his national security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now,
I don't hear him answering the question. He's throwing jabs at Trump, but I don't hear him answering what would your administration, if you were in office, what would your administration do to fix the Israel situation right now? What would you do?
Person closest to them, to Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance.
Let me know who you guys think won tonight. Was it Tampon Timmy or was it JD Vance? Who won tonight? Let me know.
Out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership. We've seen a calmness that is able to draw on the coalitions to bring them together. Understanding that our allies matter. When our allies see Donald Trump turn towards Vladimir Putin, turn towards North Korea, when we start to see that type of fickleness around holding the coalitions together, we will stay committed. And as the vice president said,
let me stop right there. Tim Walz, he sounds like an absolute fool. The reality of the situation is when Donald Trump was in office, we were safer. Let's be honest. When Donald Trump was in office, Russia didn't invade Ukraine. China wasn't circling the Taiwan. Israel and Iran wasn't at beef. We were relatively good. He even went to North Korea to meet up with to meet up with with the North Korean leader. We were in better shape on the foreign policy. All of these Democrats said, "Oh, could you imagine Donald Trump? He would be the most terrible president in terms of foreign politics." He proved the Democrats wrong. We were safer. We were respected. In the last 4 years, we have been laughed at. Weak leadership. Countries invading other countries. China circling Taiwan. Israel and Hamas. We are in worse shape than we was when we were dealing with Trump. Trump had, say what you want about Trump, but things were a lot better on a foreign policy level. That's just the facts.
Today is we will protect our forces and our allied forces, and there will be consequences.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance, the same question. Would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
So, Margaret, I want to answer the question. First of all, thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this evening and caring enough about this country to pay attention to this vice presidential debate. I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are. I was raised in a working class family. My mother required food assistance for periods of her life. My grandmother...
Who won tonight? Let me know who you think won tonight. I think J.D. Vance took Tim Walz' food. I think he took his tampons, took his little Debbie snack cakes. He took Tim Walz' food tonight. I need y'all to hit that like button. Hit that like button tonight, please. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Again, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know who you think won tonight. Let's continue.
Required Social Security help to raise me, and she raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college on the GI Bill after I enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And so I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude for this country, for the American dream that made it possible for me to live my dreams. And most importantly, I know that a lot of you are worried about the chaos in the world and the feeling that the American dream is unattainable. I want to try to convince you tonight over the next 90 minutes that if we get better leadership in the White House, if we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable once again. Now, to answer this particular question, we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence.
That's a fact. That's a fact. As much as the Democrats hate on Trump, you have to admit, on the world stage, we were safer under Trump. We were more respected under Trump. We're not respected on the world stage right now. We have weak leadership right now. Other countries are laughing at us right now. Can you imagine if we put Kamala Harris in office? We're pretty much going to have another 4 years of Joe Biden type of politics. We can't afford that on the world stage right now. We need to get back to a level of being respected on the world stage.
People were afraid of stepping out of line. Iran, which launched this attack, has received over
Salute to Rick Slick. Salute to Rick Slick.
And unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies and, God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump.
Let me know who you think won tonight. Was it Tampon Timmy? Was it the cat lady killer? JD Vance, let me know who you're rolling with tonight. Who you're rolling with tonight?
Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got out of line, the United States global leadership would put stability and peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike, Margaret, and I want to answer the question. Look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
Thank you, Senator. Governor Walz, do you care to respond to any of the allegations?
Well, look, Donald Trump was in office. We'll sometimes hear a revisionist history, but when Donald Trump was in office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership. And when Iran shot down an American aircraft in international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump. And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look, our allies understand that Donald Trump is fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where it makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you witnessed today, like you witnessed in April. Both Iranian attacks were repelled.
Let me know who you're rolling with. I think Tim Walz is full of it. Full of it. He's absolutely full of it. Iran was absolutely scared, petrified when Donald Trump was in office. Ever since Jim Crow Joe has been in office, they've been a little bit more bolder. They got their shoulders out. They got their chest out. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And you could feel it on the world stage. You could feel, like, do y'all really think it's coincidental that all of these events happened? The Israel Hamas thing, the Ukraine, Russia, China circling Taiwan. Do you think it's all coincidental that it happened underneath Joe Biden's watch? Let's just be real here. Let's just be real. Other countries sense and they see that we have weak leadership. Weak leadership. And that's all because of the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration. They're weak. Not respected. And some of you want to put this woman in office for another 4 years? Can you really afford another 4 years of Kamala Harris, Joe Biden type of politics? Can you really afford it?
Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. He recently said,
now, just like calling out ABC, we got to call out CBS and Trump supporters. I want you to acknowledge how they continually throughout this whole thing, they tried to fact check JD Vance. JD Vance was on his game now. But why aren't they fact checking the Democrats? Why aren't they fact-checking Tim Walz? Tim Walz, he spouted out a lot of lies tonight. Why didn't they fact-check Tim Walz? A lot of Democratic bootlicking. Let's continue.
Just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible. Did he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump. Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer...
Fire! Fire! Fire!
That's a fact. And you see, that's what the Democrats do. They want to keep going back to the Donald Trump presidency. No. You've been in office for the last 3.5 years. We got to look at you, Democrats. We got to look at you, Joe Biden. We got to look at you, Kamala Harris. You're the reason Iran has nuclear capabilities. You've been in office for the last 3.5 years. You're the one that's been asleep at the wheel, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's your fault. And I'm happy he brung that up, because they love to go back 8 years. They love to go back far. It's almost a damn near a decade ago. They love to go back to the Trump years. But when Trump was in office, Iran was broke. They didn't have money for all the terrorist attacks. They didn't have money for Hamas. They were broke. So my thing is, why aren't the Democrats taking accountability for their shortcomings, their failures? They are the reasons why, Iran got so bold. They are the reasons. Russia said, you know what, let's invade Ukraine. They are the reasons why China was circling Taiwan. They are the reasons, because of their weak leadership.
Sir, you're running me, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world. Donald Trump has already done it once before. Ask yourself at home, when was the last time, I'm 40 years old, when was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to. Nora?
Margaret, thank you. Let's turn now to Hurricane Helene. The storm could become one of the deadliest on record. More than 160 people are dead and hundreds more are missing. Scientists say climate change makes these hurricanes larger, stronger, and more deadly because of the historic rainfall. Senator Vance, according to CBS News polling, 7 in 10 Americans and more than 60% of Republicans under the age of 45 favor the U.S. taking steps to try and reduce climate change. Senator, what responsibility would the Trump administration have to try and reduce the impact of climate change? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Sure. So first of all, let's start with the hurricane, because it's an unbelievable, unspeakable human tragedy. I just saw today, actually, a photograph of 2 grandparents on a roof with a 6-year-old child, and it was the last photograph ever taken of them because the roof collapsed and those innocent people lost their lives. And I'm sure Governor Walz...
I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Let me know who you're voting for. Let me know who you're riding for. Let me know who you think won tonight. J.D. Vance or Tampon Timmy.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Let me know. Let's continue.
Joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people. Our prayers go out to them. And we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible. And then, of course, afterwards, to help the people in those communities rebuild. I mean, these are communities that I love. Some of them I know very personally in Appalachia, all across the Southeast. They need their government to do their job. And I commit that when Donald Trump is president again, the government will put the citizens of this country first when they suffer from a disaster. Now, Nora, you asked about climate change. I think this is a very important issue. Look, a lot of people are justifiably worried about all these crazy weather patterns. I think it's important for us, first of all, to say Donald Trump and I support clean air, clean water. We want the environment to be cleaner and safer. But one of the things that I've noticed some of our Democratic friends talking a lot about is a concern about carbon emissions, this idea that carbon emissions drives all of the climate change. Well, let's just say that's true, just for the sake of argument, so we're not arguing about weird science. Let's just say that's true. Well, if you believe that, what would you want to do? The answer is that you'd want to reshore as much American manufacturing as possible, and you'd want to produce as much energy as possible in the United States of America because we're the cleanest economy in the entire world. What have Kamala Harris's policies actually led to? More energy production in China, more manufacturing overseas, more doing business in some of the dirtiest parts of the entire world. And when I say that, I mean the amount of carbon emissions they're doing per unit of economic output. So if we actually care about getting cleaner air and cleaner water, the best thing to do is to double down and invest in American workers and the American people. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris has done exactly the opposite.
I agree. I agree. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. I think JD Vance is cooking Tim Walz. He took his food tonight. He took his tampons. He took his little Debbie. He took his little Debbie snack cakes. He took his white man tacos. He took Tim Walz food tonight. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's continue.
Governor Walz, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, we got close to an agreement because all those things are happening. Look, first of all, it is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane, and my heart goes out to the folks that are down there in contact with the governors. I serve as co-chair of the Council of Governors as we work together.
We got any Tim Walz fans in here tonight? Any Tim Walz fans? Get your tampons ready. Get your Tampax. Exorbitant. You know? Let the strings dangle. Let the strings dangle. Tampon Timmy is in the building. Salute to Enrique. What's up, Enrique? What's up, Enrique? Let's continue.
Together on these emergency managements. Governors, no partisanship. They work together to all of the governors and the emergency responders are on the ground. Those happen on the front end. The federal government comes in, makes sure they're there to that we recover, but we're still in that phase where we need to make sure that they're staying there, staying focused. Now, look, coming back to the climate change issue, there's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen. Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax, and then joked that these things would make more beachfront.
Now, I'm going to be honest. Donald Trump did call climate change a hoax. Donald Trump be wildin'. He did call climate change a hoax. He did say that. Now, let's continue.
Property to be able to invest in. What we've seen out of the Harris administration now, the Biden-Harris administration, is we've seen this investment. We've seen massive investments, the biggest.
What's good, Enrique? What's popping, Enrique?
In global history that we've seen in the Inflation Reduction Act has created jobs all across the country. 2,000 in Jeffersonville, Ohio, taking the EV technology that we invented and making it here. 200,000 jobs across the country. The largest solar manufacturing plant in North America sits in Minnesota. But my farmers know climate change is real. They've seen 500-year droughts, 500-year floods back to back. But what they're doing is adapting, and this has allowed them to tell me, look, I harvest corn, I harvest soybean, and I harvest wind. We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing more clean energy. So the solution for us is to continue to move forward, that climate change is real. Reducing our impact is absolutely critical, but this is not a false choice. You can do that at the same time you're creating the jobs that we're seeing all across the country. That's exactly what this administration has done. We are seeing us becoming an energy superpower for the future, not just the current. And that's what absolutely makes sense. And then we start thinking about how do we mitigate these disasters.
Thank you. Senator, I want to give you an opportunity.
A lot of filibuster questions. Filibuster answers for Tim. it's very filibustery in my opinion.
To respond there, the governor mentioned that President Trump has called climate change a hoax. Do you agree?
Well, look, what the president has said is that if the Democrats, in particular Kamala Harris and her leadership, if they really believe that climate change is serious, what they would be doing is more manufacturing and more energy production in the United States of America, and that's not what they're doing. So clearly, Kamala Harris herself. I
agree, Matthew. It was a more civil debate. I enjoyed it as well. It was very civil. It was very they were very kind to one another. Very kind to one another. They let each other speak. They didn't not a lot of cutting each other off. It was good to see a civil debate. It was.
Doesn't believe her own rhetoric on this. If she did, she would actually agree with Donald Trump's energy policies. Now, something Governor Walz said I think is important to touch upon, because when we talk about clean energy, I think that's a slogan that often the Democrats will use here. And I'm talking, of course, about the Democratic leadership. And the real issue is...
Hit that like button. I need you to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button now. Hit it to the beat. 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 If you're rolling with Tampon Timmy and you have inserted the tampon inside of your bussy, I need you to hit that like button right now. If you are rolling with J.D. Vance, a.k.a. PKA, the Cat Lady Killer, I need you to hit that like button right now. Let's continue.
That if you're spending hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars of American taxpayer money on solar panels that are made in China, number one, you're going to make the economy dirtier. We should be making more of those solar panels here in the United States of America. Some of them are, Tim, but a lot of them are being made overseas in China, especially the components that go into those solar panels. So if you really want to make the environment cleaner, you've got to invest in more energy production. We haven't built a nuclear facility, I think, one in the past 40 years.
Senator.
Natural gas, we got to invest more in it. Kamala Harris has done the opposite. That's raised energy prices and also meant that we're doing worse by the climate.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, would you like to respond?
Well, look, we're producing more natural gas than we ever have. There's no moratorium on that. We're producing more oil. But the folks know, and like I said again, these are not liberal folks. These are not folks that are Green New Deal folks. These are farmers that have been drought one year, massive flooding the next year. They understand that it makes sense. Look, our #1 export cannot be topsoil from erosion from these massive storms. We saw it in Minnesota this summer. And thinking about how do we respond to that, we're thinking ahead on this. And what Kamala Harris has been able to do in Minnesota, we're starting to weatherproof some of these things. The infrastructure law that was passed allows us to think about mitigation in the future. How do we make sure that we're protecting by burying our power lines? How do we make sure that we're protecting lakefronts and things that we're seeing more and more of? But to call it a hoax and to take the oil company executives to Mar-a-Lago, say, give me money for my campaign and I'll let you do whatever you want. We can be smarter about that, and an all-above energy policy is exactly what she's doing, creating those jobs right here.
Governor, your time is up. The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that the Earth's climate is warming at an unprecedented rate. Margaret?
Thank you, Nora. We're going to turn now to immigration. The crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border consistently ranks as one of the top issues for American voters. Senator Vance, your campaign is pledging to
hit that like button. I need you to hit that like button right now.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
If you're a Tim Walz fan and you have inserted the tampon inside of your bussy and you're a pronoun using, jet setting, son of a gun, if you use pronouns like they, them, if you identify as a party of 5 at Chili's, and you're a Tim Walz fan, I need you to hit that like button. Let's get back into it.
carry out the largest mass deportation plan in American history and to use the U.S. military to do so. Could you be more specific about exactly how this will work? For example, would you deport parents who have entered the U.S. illegally and separate them from any of their children who were born on U.S. soil? You have 2 minutes.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations, we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies. 94 executive orders suspending deportations, decriminalizing illegal aliens, massively increasing the asylum fraud that exists in our system. That has opened the floodgates. And what it's meant is that a lot of fentanyl is coming into our country. I had a mother who struggled with opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations. And that gets me to your point, Margaret, about what do we actually do? So we've got 25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country. What do we do with them? I think the first thing that we do is we start with the criminal migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some form of crime in addition to crossing the border illegally. I think you start with deportations on those folks. And then I think you make it harder for illegal aliens to undercut the wages of American workers. A lot of people will go home if they can't work for less than minimum wage in our own country. And by the way, that'll be really good for our workers who just want to earn a fair wage for doing a good day's work. And the final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking mules. The real family separation policy in this country is unfortunately Kamala Harris's wide open southern border. And I'd ask my fellow Americans to remember when she came into office, she said she was going to do this. Real leadership would be saying, you know what, I screwed up. We're going to go back to Donald Trump's border policies. I wish that she would do that. It would be good for all of us.
Governor, do you care to respond to any of those specific allegations, including that the vice president is, quote, letting in fentanyl and using kids as drug mules, among other things regarding children?
The drug mule is not true, but I will say about this, about the fentanyl, because
How does Tampon Timmy know? I mean, you're all the way up in Minnesota. How the hell you know what's going on at the border? How the hell does Tampon Timmy know what's going on at the southern border? You're all the way in Minnesota. I don't even think Kamala Harris knows what's going on up there because she ain't never been to the damn border. But my thing is, how the hell does Tampon Timmy know anything?
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
You're all the way up there in Minnesota. You don't know who's smuggling what or who's bringing in what.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed,
nigga. What the hell is Tampon Timmy talking about? Oh, the drug smuggling thing, that's not true. You're all the way up in Minnesota.
this is a crisis of this, the opioid crisis. And the good news on this is the last 12 months saw the largest decrease in opioid deaths in our nation's history, 30% decrease in Ohio. But there's still more work to do. But let's go back to this on immigration. Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of the largest state and a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drug interventions. But look, we all want to solve this. Most of us want to solve this. And that is the United States Congress. That's the Border Patrol agents. That's the Chamber of Commerce. That's most Americans out here. That's why we had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that this nation's seen. It was crafted by a conservative senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford. I know him. He's super conservative, but he's a man of principle.
Hit that like button. I need you to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you have anything to add to the dialogue, anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. We put respect on the super chatters. I don't put respect on trollers in the chat. Go ahead and troll, but I only put respect on the super chatters. We only read the super chatters. we put respect on the super chatters here, and I want people to be a part of the dialogue. I want people to be a part of the discussion. So please, if you have anything to add to the dialogue, anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. Yeah, but we don't entertain little broke Negroes in the chat just talking crazy. You know, God bless you, but I don't need you. I'll let the welfare feed you. Let's continue.
Get it done. Democrats and Republicans worked on this piece of legislation. The Border Patrol said, this is what we need in here. These are the experts. And the Chamber of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal said, pass this thing. Kamala Harris helped get there. 1,500 new border agents. Detection for drugs. DOJ money to speed up these the adjudications on this, just what America wants. But as soon as I was getting ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no, told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue. It gives him to, what would Donald?
I hate when the Democrats say this. Oh, this is a campaign issue. Donald Trump hasn't been in office for the last 3.5 years, Tim Walz. So when you say, oh, he wants to run on an issue, because Kamala Harris has been spewing this nonsense out again as well. Oh, he wants to run on an issue instead of fixing an issue. Kamala Harris, you're the one in office right now. You could fix this issue right now. So when you're accusing Donald Trump of, oh, he's running on an issue instead of fixing an issue, well, Kamala Harris, you're running on an issue but not fixing an issue as well. When we talk about the economy, when we talk about immigration, when we talk about abortion, when we talk about a lot of different things that people are dealing with in this country, you are in office. You have the power, Kamala. Why aren't you fixing these things? Take your high yellow ass down there to the White House, sign a damn bill, and get some fucking work done.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
But I digress.
Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things, and they need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do
Oh, Sinclair's in the building. What's up, Sinclair? Sinclair's in the building. What's up, Sinclair?
Fire, 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 fire.
Salute to Sinclair.
just through the executive branch. So look, we have the options to do this. Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this, and he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built, and Mexico didn't pay a dime. But here we are again, 9 years after he came down that escalator, dehumanizing people and telling them what he was going to do. As far as the deportation plan, at one point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable. So that's where we're at. Pass the bill, she'll sign it.
Governor, your time is up.
My whole thing is this. Why hasn't she done it already? Talking about pass the bill, she'll sign it. You know, listen, one thing that these Democrats and a lot of Democratic bootlickers, why aren't they taking accountability for all of the mishaps and all of the things that she hasn't done? Forget about passing a bill, waiting for someone to sign it. Go do an executive order, Kamala. You don't gotta wait for the Congress to do this and that. Sign an executive order. Get some damn work done, Kamala. You know, I hate hearing that. Oh, so, I'll pass the bill and through Congress and she'll sign it. She hasn't been doing nothing else. I mean, she hasn't been doing nothing else. I'm supposed to believe that Congress is going to pass a bill and Kamala's going to wait for it and then she's going to finally sign it. She's not doing anything. What is she doing right? What is Kamala, outside of campaigning, right? Outside of campaigning, what is Kamala Harris doing right now? What is she doing right now? Like, what is she doing so important right now? You know, like, I just don't get it. I don't get how somebody's in office that's running to be president of the United States can't fix these because keep in mind, everybody is saying that Joe Biden, he's mentally unstable to do his job. He can't do his job anymore. Everybody's saying that. So if Joe Biden is mentally unstable, then that would make Kamala Harris the de facto leader. Would it not be? So, you could make an argument that she's running the country right now. So if she's running the country right now, what's stopping her from doing things and getting things done now? Let's continue.
Senator, the question was, will you separate parents from their children, even if their kids are U.S. citizens? You have 1 minute.
Margaret, my point is that we already have massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules, and it is a disgrace, and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president.
And why aren't people holding Kamala accountable for that? If we've had a record number account of fentanyl being brought into this country, and a record amount of immigrants flooding into this country, why aren't we holding Kamala Harris accountable? That's my problem with the Democrats. Where's the accountability? Where's the responsibility? If we all know that Kamala Harris was in charge of the border, if we all know that she was the border czar, why aren't we holding her accountable for all the fentanyl deaths? Or the immigrant crime. She should be held accountable. If you're in charge of the border, if you're the border czar, we should hold you accountable for the fentanyl deaths. We should hold you accountable for all the immigrant crime. Hold Kamala accountable.
Or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president again.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, what about our CBS News polling, which does show that a majority...
We don't give a damn about your CBS poll. Our CBS polling. You polled a bunch of Democratic bootlicking Negroes. We don't give a damn about a CBS poll. You're irrelevant. You're irrelevant as a non-factual CBS poll. We don't give a damn about it.
Of Americans, more than 50% support mass deportations.
Look, we fix this issue with a bill that is necessary, but the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this, and Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield. The Republican governor said, it's not true, don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue. And the consequences in Springfield were the governor had to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to school. I believe Senator Vance wants to solve this, but by standing with Donald Trump and not working together to find a solution, it becomes a talking point. And when it becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
How are we dehumanizing people that came here illegally? Let's keep it a buck here. Let's keep it a buck. Let's be honest here. If you have crossed the U.S. border, you have crossed the U.S. border illegally. You are a criminal. Now let's take it to the United States. Let's take it to naturalized citizens in America, right? If you're a naturalized citizen like me and you commit a crime in front of the police, they dehumanize you. You break the law, you take somebody's life, you steal something, the police dehumanizes you when you break a crime. So you're telling me when people from another country cross the border, we shouldn't dehumanize them for breaking the law. But you're dehumanizing people in America when they break the law every day. You want it to be one way. If that's the case, you're dehumanizing Diddy right now. Diddy is he's in a prison right now, keeping his beverages cold in a toilet. He probably got the top bunk in a federal jail. You are dehumanizing him if that's the case. He broke the law. You're dehumanizing him as well. So anybody who breaks the law in America, that's a naturalized citizen. According to Tim Walz, you are being dehumanized. Because that's what when illegal immigrants cross the border, they're breaking the law. Let's continue.
Tim,
Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the question first. The governor has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the...
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're rolling with Tampon Timmy and you have inserted a tampon inside of your pussy tonight, hit that like button. If you're a JD Vance fan and cat ladies are your number one op, you're smoking on a cat lady pack tonight, hit that like button tonight.
Purse strings and any funding. So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action, solve this. Do you disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and would need to support many of the changes that you would actually want to implement? You have 1 minute.
Look, Margaret, first of all, the gross majority of what we need to do at the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to the southern border.
I agree.
More than our borders are. Kamala Harris has been, and it's actually heartbreaking because the
I think we've all been to the border more than Kamala. I think we've all been to the border more than Kamala. We've all been there more than her.
Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course, additional resources would help, but most of this is about the president and the vice president empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels. Now, Governor Walz brought up the community of Springfield, and he's very...
Salute to Sinclair. Sinclair says, anyone here illegally should get zero assistance, no welfare, no food stamps, no housing, and end anchor babies immediately getting citizenship. I respect it. I agree, Sinclair. I agree. Because, and the reality of that, Sinclair, the crazy thing about that, Sinclair, is if we were to, if any of us naturalized American citizens, if we were to go to any of these people's countries, whether they're from Honduras, whether they're from Mexico, whether they're from Haiti, no matter where it is, if we were to go to their country and try to get assistance, whether it be housing, whether it be welfare, whether it be medical care, no matter what it is, they would look at us and laugh at us, spit on us. If we were to go to their country asking and requesting the things that they're getting here, they would laugh at us. It's ridiculous what we're doing. It's ridiculous what we're allowing, and it's all happening under our tax dollars.
Very worried about the things that I've said in Springfield. Look, in Springfield, Ohio, and in communities all across this country, you've got schools that are overwhelmed. You've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You have got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with America.
If you have anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. We put respect on the super chatters. We put respect on the donors. If you have anything to add to the discussion, please put it in a super chat. Put it in a donation. We put respect on the super chatters. We read all donations. We don't read the trollers. We read the super chatters and the donators. We put respect on the super chatters and the donators. Let's continue.
Americans for scarce homes. The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace, Tim. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't think that Kamala Harris does.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, well, it is law enforcement that asked for the bill. They helped craft it. They're the ones that supported it. That's because they know we need to do this. Look, this issue of continuing to bring this up, of not dealing with it.
No, we're going to continually bring it up because Kamala Harris has done a poor job. People have lost their lives, whether it be from immigrant crimes, whether it be from fentanyl flooding the streets. Some people have lost their jobs. We're going to continue to bring it up, Tampon Timmy. Because this is an issue, referring to immigration, this is an issue that a tampon can't fix. Because you know Tampon Timmy, he thinks a tampon can fix anything. Your car battery died, get the tampons. Your bike caught a flat, get the tampons. You need a business loan? I don't got a business loan, but I got some tampons for you. He thinks a tampon can fix anything. Let's continue.
Blaming migrants for everything. On housing, we could talk a little bit about Wall Street speculators buying up housing and making them less affordable, but it becomes a blame. Look, this bill also gives the money necessary to adjudicate. I agree, it should not take 7 years for an asylum claim to be done. This bill gets it done in 90 days. Then you start to make a difference in this, and you start to adhere to what we know, American principles. I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew 25:40 talks about, to the least amongst us you do unto me. I think that's true of most Americans.
This nigga just spurred out a Bible verse. Let's continue.
They simply want order to it. This bill does it. It's funded. It's
and Tampon Timmy, when you blurt out a tampon, excuse me, When you blurt out a Bible verse, you have to say the whole verse and give the context of the verse. You can't just blurt out one little line in the verse. When you are referring to a verse, and I believe Tim Walz is Catholic, but yeah, when you blurt out a verse, you have to give the whole verse, give the context into what you're saying, because you just blurted out a small line in that verse. I think it was Matthew 24 and 40. But yeah, when you blurt out a verse, you have to give you have to give the whole verse and give the context of what the verse means. You just blurted out like a little line and you just kept it moving. But okay. Let's continue.
Supported by the people who do it, and it lets us keep our dignity about how we treat other people.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary.
San Francisco. Anybody from Haiti in here? San Francisco? Abole?
Protected
Well,
status. Nora?
Margaret, but
Thank you.
Senator, we have so much to get to.
Margaret,
Thank you,
I think it's
Nora.
important
We're
because
gonna turn now to the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going to
we're-
fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal immigration.
They're trying to cut him off. They're trying to quiet J.D. Vance. Thank you, Senator. They try to cut him short. They try to cut him short.
By
Thank
our
you,
own
Senator, for
leadership.
describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those
We have
laws.
Let me ask y'all this. Why did J.D. Vance and why did Trump, why do they continue to have these debates with the CBSs, the ABCs, the CNNs? I think one of these debates should have been at least with Fox News. Just one. You know, like you see the biasness, you see the Democratic bootlicking, the cutting off, the fact checking for everything that the Republican candidate has to say. Like, why do they? I mean, I understand you're going in. I don't think there's nothing wrong with going into enemy territory. But it's like, yo, I mean, I think the Republicans, I think they deserve at least, excuse me, y'all. They deserve at least one debate with Fox News. I mean, at least one debate with Fox News. Just in my opinion.
so
Been on
much.
the book since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
We
CBP
want to
One
have,
app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so
And that's another thing. Like, stop cutting their mics off. I don't like that. I don't like people. I don't like when they cut the mics, mute the mics. I don't like that. That's corny. Oh, we're gonna cut the mics. Like, dog. I want to hear everything J.D. Vance has to say. I want to hear everything Tim Walz has to say. Like, that's not cute. We don't like that. If I was running a debate, I want the mics hot. I want the mics hot all night. I want backstage footage. We want the mics hot all night. We want you to trip. We want to trip you up and say something stupid. We want to catch you with a hot mic saying something ridiculous. We want to put you on a hot seat and ask you the tough questions. I think that's corny. Oh, we're going to mute the mics. Like, how does that benefit the American people? These are two candidates that the American people will be voting for. We want to hear what they have to say. You know? Salute to Malik Omar. Salute to Malik Omar with the $10 donation. Salute to Malik Omar. Salute to Malik Omar. Malik Omar says, this country is in trouble. If Harris gets back in office, she is an extreme socialist that will continue to keep borders open. Both of her parents are foreigners, so she empathizes with illegals. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's a fact. That's an absolute Snapple fact, Malik. I'm going to be honest with you. See, Kamala Harris, she's not a foundational Black American woman. She's not. Both of her parents come from an immigrant background. Her mother immigrated from, India, I believe. Her father, now let me just say this. Her father is biracial. Her father is not a full-blooded bad boy. Rastafari. Yardman. He's a biracial. Half Irish. His father was Irish. His mother was Jamaican. Right? But furthermore, right? Both of them come from an immigrant background. These are not naturalized American citizens. These are not two people that have years and years and years of history in America, history of building in America. Like, Kamala Harris's ancestors, they didn't fight in America's wars, whether they be the Civil Wars, whether they be the World Wars, whether they be Vietnam, whether they be the Gulf War. They didn't fight in any of these wars. They didn't take part in all of the building blocks in terms of the American experience. They didn't take part of Americanized slavery, Jim Crow, Reconstruction, Civil Rights era. She did claim that her mother and father were a part of the Civil Rights era. We have yet to see a photograph, her mother or father at any type of march, sit-in, bus protest. We have yet to see that. She has yet to show that. So I'm pulling her card on that, and I'm calling cap on that. But yes, I agree with you, Malik. Her mother and her father come from an immigrant background. So that's why she got that border so wide open. Fire! 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 That's why she empathizes. That's why she's so, laxed with that damn border. She don't give two squirrel farts about foundational Black Americans that have built the country. She don't give two squirrel farts about them. Because she comes from an immigrant background. But salute to Malik, salute to Malik. And again, if you want to be a part of the discussion, if you want to be a part of the dialogue, please put it in the super chat. We read all super chats. We put respect on the super chatters. We put respect on the donors. And I want people to be a part of the dialogue. I want people to be a part of the discussion. So make sure you super chat. Make sure you donate. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's continue to let's get back into the story. Let's get back into the debate.
So much we want to get to. Thank you for explaining the legal process, Nora.
Thank you, Margaret. The economy is a top concern for voters. Each of your campaigns has released an economic plan, so let's talk about the specifics. Governor Walz, Vice President Harris unveiled a plan that includes billions in tax credits for manufacturing, housing, and a renewed child tax credit. The Wharton School says your proposals will increase the nation's deficit by $1.2 trillion. How would you pay for that without ballooning the deficit? Governor, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. And Kamala Harris and I do believe in the middle class because that's where we come from. We both grew up in that. We understand.
That's cap. It's absolute cap. If Kamala Harris gave a damn about the middle class, inflation wouldn't be at the top of the bill. If Kamala Harris gave a damn about the middle class, people wouldn't be struggling with groceries right now.
So those of you out there listening tonight, you're hearing a lot of stuff back and forth, and it's good. It's healthy. That's what this is supposed to happen. You should be listening. How's this going to impact me? The bold forward plan that Kamala Harris put out there is talking about this housing issue. The one thing is there's 3 million new houses proposed under this plan with down payment assistance on the front end to get you in a house. A house is much more than just an asset to be traded somewhere. It's foundational to where you're at. And then making sure that the things you buy every day, whether they be prescription drugs or other things, that there's fairness in that. Look, the $35 insulin is a good thing, but it costs $5 to make insulin. They were charging $800 before this law went into effect. As far as the housing goes, I've seen it in Minnesota. 12% more houses in Minneapolis. Prices.
Sinclair says her mother is a research student. Teacher isn't going to protest. She had to protect her grants for research. She wouldn't risk that. I agree. Like, you know, she keeps trying to make it seem like her mother was just this single woman that had to struggle for every penny. Her mother was working at JCPenney, you know, hustling and stuff like that. She comes from an affluent family. Her mother was a very smart woman. Her mother, like Sinclair said, her mother was a research student. I believe she became a doctor at one point. Like she comes from an affluent family. No, I don't believe that her mother was ever on Section 8 or was ever, you know, at the, in the projects or anything like that. So all this, you know, her mother had to struggle and all this. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Went down on rent 4%. It's working. And then making sure tax cuts go to the middle class. $6,000 child tax credit. We have one in Minnesota. Reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We save money in the long run, and we do the right thing for families. And then getting businesses off the ground. The law as it stands right now is $5,000 tax credit for small business, increasing that to $50,000. Now, this is a philosophical difference between us. Donald Trump made a promise, and I'll give you this. He kept it. He took folks to Mar-a-Lago, said, you're rich as hell, I'm going to give you a tax cut. He gave the tax cuts that predominantly went to the top class. What happened there was an $8 trillion increase in the national debt, the largest ever. Now he's proposing a 20% consumption or sales tax on everything we bring in. Everyone agrees, including businesses, it would be destabilizing it, it would increase inflation and potentially lead to a recession. Look, this is simple for you. Where are we going? Kamala Harris has said to do the things she wants to do, we'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our system works best, more people are participating in it, and folks have the things that they need.
Senator, I want to give you a moment to respond on that. But similarly, the Wharton School has done an analysis of the Trump plan and says it would increase the nation's deficit by 5.
Notice how CBS are loading the question. They asked Tim Walz a question. He answered it. Filibustered the fuck out of that question. Then here you have CBS. They're passing it to J.D. Vance, but they're adding upon the first question. A lot of biasness is going on in these debates. And that's what I said. I was like, yo, you know, I think Fox News should have done one of these debates because there's a lot of biasness. It's very biased. I need y'all to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got 140 people in the building. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button right now. Let's continue.
My question question is the same for you. How do you pay for all that without ballooning the deficit? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, you're going to hear a lot from Tim Walz this evening, and you just heard it in the answer, a lot of what Kamala Harris proposes to do. And some of it, I'll be honest with you, it even sounds pretty good. Here's what you won't hear, is that Kamala Harris has already done it. Because she's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She had the opportunity to enact all of these great policies. And what she's actually done instead is drive the cost of food higher by 25%. Drive the cost of housing higher by about 60%. Open the American southern border and make middle-class life unaffordable for a large number of Americans. If Kamala Harris has such great plans for how to address middle-class problems, then she ought to do them now.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
That's a fact. I'm sorry. That's a fact. If you got all these incredible plans, Kamala, if you got all these incredible plans that could fix the country, fix the economy, fix inflation, if you have all these incredible plans that could help fix, make things better, make things better on single mothers that are struggling, make things better on struggling families that are trying to make ends meet, make things better on the average American, why aren't you doing them now in the White House, Kamala?
Fire! 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 Fire!
We can't let her get away with that. Because, you know, every incumbent, every person that's a part of the office that's trying to get back into the office, you're going to have to deal with that. Because we're going to look at the state of the country and we're going to say, you're in office right now. Why aren't you fixing things? Why aren't you doing things during this election season right now to help fix, make things better for the American people?
Fire! 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 Fire!
She's going to have to deal with that. Let's continue, though.
Not when asking for a promotion, but in the job the American people gave her 3.5 years ago. And the fact that she isn't tells you a lot about how much you can trust her actual plans. Now, Donald Trump's economic plan is not just a plan, but it's also a record. A lot of those same economists attack Donald Trump's plans, and they have PhDs, but they don't have common sense and they don't have wisdom. Because Donald Trump's economic policies delivered the highest take-home pay in a generation in this country, 1.5% inflation, and to boot, peace and security all over the world. So when people say that Donald Trump's economic plan doesn't make sense, I say look at the record. He delivered rising take-home pay for American workers. Now, Tim admirably admits that they want to undo the Trump tax cuts. But if you look at what was so different about Donald Trump's tax cuts, even from previous Republican tax cut plans, is that a lot of those resources went to giving more take-home pay to middle-class and working-class Americans. It was passed in 2017, and you saw an American economic boom unlike we've seen in a generation in this country. That is a record that I'm proud to run on, and we're going to get back to that common sense wisdom so that you can afford to live the American dream again. I know a lot of you are struggling. I know a lot of you are worried about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump brings back common sense to this country.
Governor, do you want to respond to that? What has come?
Yeah, we need common sense back.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
We need common sense back. Because when we had common sense in America, inflation was down. And that's another thing Kamala Harris has to deal with that. When Donald Trump, now listen, if Donald Trump was in office and inflation was at an all-time high, I don't think he would have an argument when it comes to the economy. But the reality is, when Donald Trump was in office, you know, the economy was doing pretty good, even after COVID. He handed Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, a country where the inflation was down, the economy was doing pretty good. They ruined that. I see we ain't got a lot of Kamala sexuals in the building tonight. Normally we get a lot of Kamala sexuals in the building, but you know, they're not in here tonight. Let's continue.
Kamala Harris done for the middle class.
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris's day one was Donald Trump's failure on COVID that led to the collapse of our economy. We were already before COVID in a manufacturing recession, but 10 million people out of work, largest percentage since the Great Depression. 9 million jobs closed on that. That was day one. Whether it was the Infrastructure Act or other things we moved. Now, you made a question about experts, said this. I've made a note of this. Economists can't be trusted. Science can't be trusted. National security folks can't be trusted. Look, if you're going to be president, you don't have all the answers. Donald Trump believes he does. My pro tip of the day is this. If you need heart surgery, listen to the people at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, not Donald Trump. And the same thing goes with this. And I ask you out there, teachers, nurses, truck drivers, or whatever, how is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years, and the last year as president? That's what's wrong with the system. There's a way around it, and he's bragged about that. We're just asking for fairness in it, and that's all you want.
You have a minute.
Governor, you say trust the experts. But those same experts for 40 years said that if we shipped our manufacturing base off to China, we'd get cheaper goods. They lied about that. They said if we shipped our industrial base off to other countries, to Mexico and elsewhere, it would make the middle class stronger. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about the idea that if we made America less self-reliant, less productive in our own nation, that it would somehow make us better off, and they were wrong about it. And for the first time in a generation, Donald Trump had the wisdom and the courage to say to that bipartisan consensus, we're not doing it anymore.
Let me know if you think J.D. Vance is cooking Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz took I think Tim Walz took an L tonight. I think J.D. Vance took his food, took his tampons, his Little Debbie snack cakes. He took Tim Walz's food tonight. Let me know if you think J.D. Vance took Tim Walz's food tonight. I need y'all to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got 200 people in the building tonight. If you want to be a part of the dialogue and discussion, please put it in the super chat. We put respect on the super chatters. We put respect on the donors. We read all super chats. We read all donations. And I want people to be a part of the dialogue. I want people to be a part of the discussion. This is your country. I want to know how you're feeling, what you're thinking. 30 days away, 30 plus days, 30 plus days away from the election night. I want to know how you're feeling. Let me know. Send in the super chat, send in the donation. We put respect on the super chatters. We put respect on the donors. Did Tampon Timmy take a L? I think he took a L tonight.
Bringing American manufacturing back. We're unleashing American energy. We're going to make more of our own stuff. And this isn't just an economic issue. I mean, I've got 3 beautiful little kids at home, 7, 4, and 2. And I love them very much, and I hope they're in bed right now. But look, so many of the drugs, the pharmaceuticals that we put in the bodies of our children are manufactured by nations that hate us. This has to stop. And we're not going to stop it by listening to experts. We're going to stop it by listening to common sense wisdom, which is what Donald Trump governed on.
Senator, your time is up. Governor Walz, can you address that? I mean, voters say they trust Donald Trump on the economy more. Why?
Well, if you're
I don't think it's crazy for people to trust Donald Trump more than they trust Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they're not businessmen and women. They're not business minded. You got one guy who's asleep at the wheel, talking about Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, Benadryl Joe, NyQuil Joe, DayQuil Joe, ZQuil Joe, nighttime and daytime cough Joe. He's asleep at the wheel. He don't know what's going on. He's not business minded. He's been a politician his whole life. He don't know nothing about business, economy. This is economy we're talking about here. Kamala Harris, she don't know nothing about economy, making things run like a well-oiled machine in terms of business. She don't know nothing about that. She's been a prosecutor her whole life. Habeas corpus her whole life. She don't know what the hell, how to run a damn business. So when it comes to running this country like a business, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're just not the people to do it.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
I'm just keeping it a buck. If you're expecting Jim Crow Joe and Kamala Harris to run this country like a business.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
That's not realistic. It's not. Because neither one of them are business minded. One has been a politician his whole life. The other one has been a prosecutor her whole life. Let's continue though.
You're listening tonight and you want billionaires to get tax cuts. You heard what the numbers were. Look, I'm a union guy on this. I'm not a guy who wanted to ship things overseas, but I understand that, look, we produce soybeans and corn. We need to have fair trading partners. That's something that we believe in. I think the thing that most concerns me on this is Donald Trump was the guy who created the largest trade deficit in American history with China. So the rhetoric is good. Much of what the senator said right there, I'm in agreement with him on this. I watched it happen too. I watched it to my communities, and we talked about that. But we had people undercutting the right to collectively bargain. We had right to work states made it more difficult. We had companies that were willing to ship it over.
Hit that like button. I need you to hit that damn like button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Hit that like button.
And we saw people profit. Folks that are venture capital in some cases, putting money into companies that were overseas. We're in agreement that we bring those home. The issue is Donald Trump is talking about it. Kamala Harris has a record, 250,000 more manufacturing jobs just out of the IRA.
May I respond to that?
Yes.
So appreciate that. So if you notice what Governor Walz just did is he said, first of all, Donald Trump has to listen to the experts. And then when he acknowledged that the experts screwed up, he said, well, Donald Trump didn't do nearly as good of a job as the statistics show that he did. So what Tim Walz is doing, and I honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did, and you've simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens.
Fire!
The Democrats looking bad. They looking stupid. They looking goofy. Inequipped to do the job.
To get to ahead, gentlemen, on many topics, but right now I want to talk about personal qualifications. The vice president is often the last voice the president hears before making consequential decisions. We want to ask you about your leadership qualities. Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989.
Oh, they're about that. Now, Tim Walz, he got caught lying a couple of times. He lied about he lied about a couple of things. I don't know if they're gonna call him out. I did hear about this. He lied something about him lying about him carrying weapons or something. So it was a bunch of things that they said he lied about. Let me see if this is where they're going with this. Let me see.
But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year.
Woo! Timmy boy lying, man. What's going on with Tampon Timmy with all these damn lies? You're lying about being in Tiananmen Square. You're lying about where you served at, if you carried weapons, if you did, if you didn't. Somebody even claimed, stolen valor. Now listen, he did serve, but they're saying that it was stolen valor when he lied about, he said he carried weapons at a certain place or something, whatever. They said that was stolen valor. Is Tim Walz guilty of stolen valor? Let me know. Is he guilty of stolen valor? I already see you got a Kamala sexual in the building. A Kamala sexual said, "Oh, Trump lies every single day." We talking about the Democrats tonight. We kicking in the Democrats back tonight. And how about this? Trump lies every day. So do the Democrats. The Democrats lie to black people every day. They lie to black people, say, we're going to fix the issues. We're going to fix the problems. So the Democrats lie to black people every day, too. Let's continue.
Can you explain that discrepancy? You have 2 minutes.
Well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural.
Did you lie? Yes or no? Just keep it a buck, Timmy boy. Tampon Timmy, where did you serve the military? Were you serving the country? Instead of every soldier they get their weapon, they get an M16, a canteen. Tim Walz was like, no, I don't need that damn M16. Don't give me no damn M16. Send me out to the battle. Send me out to the war zone. All I need is a damn tampon. I heard Timmy went to Vietnam with a damn tampon. And he came back with a damn Purple Heart.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Let's continue. All right, let's continue.
Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17. Worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take.
We got 141 people in the building. I need you to hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Hit that like button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Hit that subscribe button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Hit that like button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Should have at least 50 likes right now. Hit that like button.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Let's continue.
Basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China. The issue for that was to try and learn. Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that.
Did you lie, yes or no? Did you lie about being in Tiananmen Square? Did you lie about, carrying weapons or whatever, like they said? Did you lie, Timmy boy? That's all we want to know.
Those same people elected me
That's what we want to know.
for 12 years. And in Congress, I was one of the most bipartisan people working on things like
He's not going to give you a yes or no answer if he lied or not.
Minnesota. Were able to elect me to governor twice. So look, my commitment has been from the beginning to make sure that I'm there for the people, to make sure that I get this right.
Did you lie, yes or no?
Anything. Many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric.
You get caught up in a lie.
The difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi Jinping about COVID, and I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community, and then it's
never really answered the question.
Your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at, or whether it was being a good soldier or was being a good member of Congress.
We don't know if you were a good soldier because you lied about what you did when you served.
The question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
He can't explain it. He can't explain it. He can't explain it. He can't explain it. He can't explain the lies. The white man fumbling and bumbling. He can't explain it, man. He can't explain the lies.
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just.
So you lied. You see how the white man will be very deceptive sometimes. Instead of just telling us I lied about what I said, he said I misspoke. If you misspoke, then you lied, Tim Walz. Just say you lied. If you misspoke, just say you lied. You lied. You lied. Just say you lied. I misspoke. Oh, you're so full of it, bro. You lied. You lied. Salute to Swift Titan. Swift Titan with the $2 donation. Salute to Swift Titan. Swift Titan says, "Why does Tampon Timmy look like a grumpy cat?"
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga?
That's a fact. You know, he looked like he owned a hardware store or something like that. Like he's working the front desk at Ace Hardware. You go to the desk looking for a screwdriver. He wanna walk you down to the damn aisle. That's what he looks like to me. But instead of him showing you where the screwdrivers is, he's gonna show you where the tampons are. Like, Timmy, I'm not looking for tampons. I'm looking for the damn screwdrivers. Yeah, now I'm gonna take you down the screwdriver aisle, but just want to make sure you get your tampons before you leave. Timmy, I don't need tampons, boy. Crazy, man. But yeah, I mean, Tampon Timmy, man. And but I have an issue with him right now because it's like, dog, just say you lied. Just keep it a book. Just say, yo, I lied. Like, why can't he just say I lied? He wanna see cloaking it as I misspoke. Because we have to stay on this, right? And I'm gonna tell you why we have to stay on this. Is because they claim that Donald Trump lies. Everything Donald Trump, he lies, he lies, he lies. All the time they just say he lies, he lies, he lies. But we never really zero in and focus on the Democrats' lies. We never focus in on the Kamala Harris lies, the Tim Walz lies. So here you get the white man caught out, telling a lie, talking about, oh, I misspoke. Well, then you lied. That's all it is, man, to say you lied. You didn't misspoke, you lied, Timmy boy. You lied. Let's continue.
That's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Vance, in 2016,
Lying ass nigga.
you called your running mate Donald Trump unfit for the nation's highest office, and you said he could be America's Hitler. I know you've been asked many times, and you've said you regret those comments and explained you then voted for Donald Trump in 2020. But the Washington Post reported new messages last week in which you also disparaged Trump's economic record while he was president, writing to someone in 2020, quote, Trump thoroughly failed to deliver his economic populism. You're now his running mate, and you've shifted many of your policy stances to align with his. If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear? You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it. It's one of the reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you pointed out the messages from 2020.
Hold on. Nick says, I guess 5.8 trillion debt doesn't matter. Oh, I have to address that. Are we going to sit up here and act like all of the debt collected from the United States is all Trump's fault? All of the debt is cumulative. Cumulative debt. It's Joe Biden's fault. It's Barack Obama's fault. It's all of theirs fault. The national debt is all of theirs fault. I hold all of them. I hold every president accountable. I'm not going to just say it's Trump's fault. I'm not going to just say it's Joe Biden's fault. I'm going to say it's Barack Obama's fault too. It's all of theirs fault.
Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration the first round if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe, and I've been a United States senator, that Congress is not just a high-class debating society. It's not just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So there were a lot of things on the border, on tariffs, for example, where I think that
we all know why they're running up the debt. I'm not gonna say why, but we all know why they're running. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Could have done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching Donald Trump, they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because Tim just accused this of being a national sales tax. Look, the one thing, and you're probably surprised to hear me praising Joe Biden, but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the one.
And that's my thing. Why, if Trump was so bad, right? If Trump was so bad, hear me out. If Trump was so bad, right? Trump was so bad on an economic level, on a business level. If he was so bad, why did they decide to keep the tariffs? That's another thing that they're going to have to deal with. If Trump was so economically bad, doing such a poor job running this country economically, why did the Biden administration choose to keep the tariffs?
issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration. It's the one issue where Kamala Harris has run away from Joe Biden's record. Think about this. If you're trying to employ slave laborers in China at $3 a day, you're going to do that and undercut the wages of American workers unless our country stands up for itself and says, you're not accessing our markets unless you're paying middle-class Americans a fair wage.
Senator, your time is up.
Somebody said not easy to reverse when implemented. That's a bunch of hogwash. You're not saying that about the wall, the wall that Trump built. You're not saying that about that. But when it comes to the tariffs, you don't have no problem with that. But when it comes to the wall, why you don't have that same energy towards the wall? They weren't implementing that. They wasn't, they wasn't trying to support that or get behind that. But they damn sure kept them tariffs in place. If Trump was so bad for business, why did they keep the tariffs in place? We need to know.
Thank you. Now to the issue of reproductive rights. Governor Walz, after Roe versus Wade was overturned, you signed a bill into law that made Minnesota one of the least restrictive states in the nation when it comes to abortion. Former President Trump said in the last debate that you believe abortion, quote, in the 9th month is absolutely fine. Yes or no? Is that what you support?
In the 9th month? Abortion in the see, this is why the Democrats are so dangerous. These are a demonic political party. Abortion in the 9th month? Are you crazy? Fire! 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 You might as well take the baby when it's born. These Democrats are demonic. Abortion in the 9th month? Are you crazy, sir? Are you crazy? Oh my God! The 9th month. The 9th month. Are you crazy? This is crazy. I mean, like, listen, and don't get me wrong. Do I feel for women in those certain cases? Do I think that women in certain cases should be awarded those luxuries in terms of having those procedures? If a woman has been, I don't want to mention the things, but when a woman has been victimized, when a woman have been any woman have been victimized, taken advantage of, they should be awarded those luxuries. When I speak about this issue, I'm talking more so about women that had consensual sexual relationships with another man of age, consensual, and the woman is now pregnant. That's more so what I'm talking about. And 9 times out of 10, the situation is that type of situation. It's not the the special situation. It's those type of situations. The 9th month? Are you crazy? Fire! 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 If you have anything to add to the dialogue, anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. We put respect on all super chatters. We put respect on the super chatters. We put respect on the donors. We read all super chats. I want people to be a part of the dialogue. I want people to be a part of the discussion. So please put in the super chat. Please put it in the donation. Let's hear Timmy Boy, Tampon Timmy, articulate him wanting to have women have that procedure done in the 9th month, which is crazy to me.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
That's not what the bill says, but look, this...
He's claiming that's not what the bill says. Tampon Timmy, we already caught you in a lie. Now you're trying to walk back another one. We already caught you in a lie. You gotta watch these Democrats. They're a very demonic party. No restrictions. They'll say whatever to get a vote. You know, they'll go to a Baptist church to get the vote, and then they'll go to a satanic lodge the same day just to get the vote. These are a godless people, a godless party, no morality, willing to say whatever to get the damn vote. It's a fact.
This issue is what's on everyone's mind. Donald Trump put this all into motion. He brags about how great it was that he put the judges in and overturned Roe versus Wade, 52 years of personal autonomy. And then he tells us, oh, we send it to the states. It's a beautiful thing. Amanda Zaworski would disagree with you on it's a beautiful thing. A young bride in Texas waiting for their child at 18 weeks. She has a complication, a tear in the membrane. She needs to go in. The medical care at that point needs to be decided by the doctor. And that would have been an abortion. But in Texas, that would have put them in legal jeopardy. She went home, got sepsis, nearly dies, and now she may have difficulty having children. Or in Kentucky, Hadley Duvall, a 12-year-old child raped and impregnated by her stepfather. Those are horrific. Now, when God asked about that, Senator Vance said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. There is no right in this. So in Minnesota, what we did was restore Roe versus Wade. We made sure that we put women in charge of their health care. But look, this is not where, if you don't know Amanda or a Hadley, you soon will. Their Project 2025 is going to have a registry of pregnancy.
Again with the Project 2025. The Democratic scare tactic. Project 2025. Everybody run. Project 2025. It's going to get you. It's going to get you. It's a Democratic scare tactic. The Democrats have Democratic scare tactics. Project 2025 is the #1 ace in the hole Democratic scare tactic. Oh, the Project 2025. It's like the boogeyman. Oh, you better go inside the house. The boogeyman gonna get you. Project 2025. That's all we hear from the damn Democrats.
It's going to make it more difficult, if not impossible, to get contraception and limit access, if not eliminate access to infertility treatments. For so many of you out there listening, me included, infertility treatments are why I have a child. That's nobody else's business, but those things are being proposed. And the catch-all on this is, well, the states will decide what's right for Texas might not be right for Washington. That's not how this works. This is basic.
I think it should be up to the states. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think because if we really break it down to a minute level.
Oh, power rule, you going to bed, nigga.
It should be up to the states. If you live in California, of course you're not gonna have the same traditions and values as people that live in Alabama. If you live in New York City, of course you're not gonna have the same traditions and values as people that live in middle America, like Wyoming. Sure, I think it should be up to the states. And if you choose to have, that procedure done, I think you should take your behind to another state and have the procedure done in that other state. It should be up to the states. If you live in a state that doesn't, support that the basic that procedure, then you should go to another state. Women need more responsibility. As far and men as well. I'm not trying to take it off the men. Men and women, consenting men and women, adults That's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anybody who's been victimized. Consenting men and women need to take accountability.
Human rights. We have seen maternal mortality skyrocket in Texas, outpacing many other countries in the world. This is about health care.
Nick, you sound like a simp. Oh, that's controlling women. That's controlling women. How is that controlling women when if you live in a particular state, it's up to the state for them to decide if they want to have it or not. If you're a woman and you live in whatever states these are, and you want that right, go out and vote. Go out and vote. You know, if your state decides to have that necessity to you, then hey, have the necessity. But if it doesn't, then you don't live in the right state. Maybe you should move. Maybe you should go to another state and have that procedure done. But we're not gonna take a young child's life because you don't have responsibility and you're not gonna take accountability as a mother. And a lot of you, I see some of you, oh, that's the definition of control. I see some of the people in here. But let's be real here. Let's break it down to a minute level, right? Would you consider, how about this? Let's break it down. Would you consider that procedure? We all know what the procedure, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but would you consider that procedure? Would you consider it deleting someone? Because we could make the argument that you're deleting someone. You're deleting an innocent life. Would you consider that procedure deleting someone's life? If we were to break it down to that minute level, and we look at it like that, and we say, well, listen, because you're claiming control. You're saying, oh, you're taking control of people. You're controlling people. When you break the law, the police are controlling you, right? They pick you up. They put you in the back seat of the paddy wagon. They put the handcuffs on you. They process you. They throw you in a cell. They're controlling you, right? You go see the judge. They prosecute you. They may send you to prison. They may give you a bail. They control you, right? My premise is when people break the law, they hold people accountable. They control you, right? So what about that innocent life? What about that innocent life? Should the same rules apply? Should the same rules apply? Should the same rules apply? Let's continue.
In Minnesota, we are ranked first in healthcare for a reason. We trust women. We trust doctors.
Senator, do you want to respond to the governor's claim? Will you create a federal pregnancy monitoring agency?
No, Nora, certainly we won't. And I want to talk about this issue because I know a lot of Americans care about it, and I know a lot of Americans don't agree with everything that I've ever said on this topic. And, I grew up in a working class family in a neighborhood where I knew a lot of young women who had unplanned pregnancies and decided to terminate those pregnancies because they feel like they didn't have any other option.
And again, I'm not taking any accountability off of the men. The men should be taking accountability and taking responsibility just as the men.
Oh, power!
Just as the women. The women and the men should be taking accountability. I'm not taking it off the men. I'm putting responsibility on both parties. But you see, for me, it's a little bit different for me because I live in a black community. I'm from the black community, and all I see in black communities is Planned Parenthoods. And it's all Democrats putting these places in our communities. All of the geniuses, all of the talented young black boys, young black girls, innocent lives gone because these demonic Democrats put abortion clinics in our neighborhoods. It's real deep, man. All the brilliance, that it could have been the next Martin Luther King we could have had, but we lost because a black queen decided to go to a clinic. The next Malcolm X we could have had in our community, but we lost that because a black queen decided to go to a clinic. And I blame the Democrats for placing these places in our community. So for me, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and no, I'm pro-life. I'm absolutely pro-life. But that's where I land on the side of the argument.
And, I one of them is actually very dear to me. And I know she's watching tonight, and I love you. And she told me something a couple years ago that she felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect innocent life in this country, who proudly wants to protect the vulnerable, is that my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue where they frankly just don't trust us. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump and I are endeavoring to do.
Somebody said, so grape children. I already talked about that. I said that the people, the girls that under those, I'm not going to talk about that, in particularly, but, anybody who has been anybody who has been victimized, let's say that. Anyone who has been victimized, they deserve those luxuries.
Oh, Pyro, you going to...
And anybody who has been, victimized in any type of way, I'm not going to get too deep into it, they deserve those luxuries. I'm talking about consenting adults who are deciding to terminate the pregnancy. I'm talking about that. I'm not talking about anyone who's been victimized. I'm talking about consenting adults.
I want us as a Republican Party to be pro-family in the fullest sense of the word. I want us to support fertility treatments. I want us to make it easier for moms to afford to have babies. I want it to make it easier for young families to afford a home so they can afford a place to raise that family. And I think there's so much that we can do.
And another misnomer is 9 times out of 10, it's a consenting adult in those clinics. I feel like the Democrats, they try to, tug at the heartstrings. What about the people that have been victimized? Listen, to the people that have been victimized, I think everybody would be in agreement that anyone who's been victimized, they are deserving of those, those services, right? Anyone who's been victimized. But for the people that are consenting adults, they need to take accountability. For the people that are consenting adults, they need to take responsibility for their choices. Let's continue.
On the public policy front, just to give women more options. Now, of course, Donald Trump has been very clear that on the abortion policy specifically, that we have a big country and it's diverse. And California has a different viewpoint on this than Georgia. Georgia has a different viewpoint from Arizona. And the proper way to handle this, as messy as democracy sometimes is to let voters make these decisions. Let the individual states make their abortion.
Thank you, Enrique. Thank you. Enrique nailed it. Enrique says, those that have been victimized is a fraction of a percent. That's a fact.
Fire! 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 Fire!
Thank you, Enrique, because 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be someone who gets victimized that are coming into those clinics. It's going to be someone who was a consenting adult that feels like, or consenting, young adult that felt like they wasn't ready to have a baby. And in those scenarios, and in that case, I feel like you need to take accountability for your decisions. The same goes when a young adult has a driver's license and they get drunk and they drive, they have to take accountability for what they've done. The same thing when those young adults go out into the world and they commit a crime and they're 18 or whatever, they have to take accountability. Why, when it comes to this discussion, when it comes to young people, when it comes to people even older, when they're 20, 24, 25, 26, some even 30. Why, when it comes to this, now we want to act like, we don't understand, and like, listen, man. Take accountability for your decisions. If you decided to lay down with a bum ass nigga that can't provide for you and your child, that's your fault. If you decided to lay down with a nigga that wasn't going to take care of you and that child, that wasn't going to help you out when you decided to get pregnant, that's your fault. You should have chose better. It's nobody's fault that you chose to lay down with a bum ass nigga. Oh my God! You think society should be crying tears because you decided as a consenting adult. You wasn't victimized. You was a consenting adult. You thought that bum ass nigga was so fly with his True Religion jean jacket and his dusty braids and his yellow teeth. You thought he was so fly that one night you got drunk off the Hennessy, off the Casamigos. You thought he was so fly, so good looking. You decided to lay down with him, and now you two are having a baby. Is that the state's fault now? Is that your governor's fault now? Is that your mayor's fault now? Is that your senator's fault now? In my opinion, that's your fault. As a consenting adult, you decided to lay on your back, receive the tool. Respectfully, as a consenting adult. We're talking about consenting adults. We're not talking about nobody being victimized. This is two consenting adults. You decided to lay on your back, spread eagle, receive the tool, take accountability. Oh, I see Jadera in the building. What's up, Jadera? Jadera know what I'm talking about. He gonna laugh when he see that. I think I'm on delay a little bit. He gonna laugh when he see that. Yeah, man. But yeah, you know, niggas gotta take accountability, man. It's not your governor's fault. It's not the state's fault. It's not your mayor's fault. It's not your senator's fault. Take accountability as consenting adults. It's nobody's fault that you decided to receive the tool and now you don't feel like you're ready to be a mom. That's my thing. Now, listen, like I said, I sympathize with anyone who's been victimized. If you've been victimized as a young woman, I think that you are deserving of those of those procedures. You are absolutely deserving of those procedures. I'm not going to get into those scenarios, but you're deserving of it. But if we're talking about two consenting adults here, you need to take damn accountability for what you did. Nah, I'm absolutely pro-life. I'm absolutely pro-life. I don't believe in abortion. I don't believe in abortion. I don't think abortion is right. I think it's wrong. Yeah, I'm 1000% pro-life, not King, Kid Hulk Hogan, or whatever your name is.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Let's get back into it though.
Abortion policy, and I think that's what makes the most sense in a very big, a very diverse, and let's be honest, sometimes a very, very messy and divided country.
Governor, would you like to respond and also answer the question about restrictions?
Yeah, well, the question got asked, and Donald Trump made.
Steven says that goes for the guy too. I agree. It does go for the guy too. I'm not, see, that's the thing. I'm not taking accountability off of the guy. Y'all think I'm taking accountability off of the guy. I'm not. I'm putting equal accountability on both parties. I'm putting equal accountability on both parties. Like I'm not taking it off the guy whatsoever.
Made the accusation that wasn't true about Minnesota. Well, let me tell you about this idea that there's diverse states. There's a young woman named Amber Thurman. She happened to be in Georgia, a restrictive state. Because of that, she had to travel a long distance to North Carolina to try and get her care. Amber Thurman died in that journey back and forth. The fact of the matter is, how can we as a nation say that your life and your rights, as basic as the right to control your own body, is determined on geography? There's a very real chance, had Amber Thurman lived in Minnesota, she would be alive today. That's why the restoration of Roe versus Wade. When you listen to Vice President Harris talk about this subject and you hear me talk about it, you hear us talking exactly the same.
I'll have to look into that case, into what actually I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that case because I don't know what happened. I mean, a lot of things happen during pregnancies. I mean, I can't really speak on that. Oh no. And now, listen, I understand. Geography wise, you may live in a state that don't have abortion, or don't believe in abortion, or don't want to give women that luxury. I agree. Listen, I understand. But, women have to be held accountable, and including men. Men have to be accountable as well. But, we can't just be giving, women just a free pass and like that. I don't believe in abortion. That's just me. I'm very pro-life. I think it's sad that woman passed away due to the causes of that, and that she had to travel because of that. Yeah, I think that's sad, but I mean, I would have to know more about that case.
Donald Trump is trying to figure out how to get the political right of this. I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said about what's happening. His running mate, though, does not, and that's the problem.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, let me ask you about that. He mentioned, I think, referring to a national ban. In the past, you have supported a federal.
Kid Hogan says, you simply not pro-life if you think fetuses don't deserve life because someone was victimized. That's untrue. I said that if someone has been victimized, that they should deserve those those procedures. I didn't say that they had to go through with those procedures. If they choose to have the baby, that's their choice. If someone who has been victimized and they choose to have a baby, off of that, then that's their choice. But at the end of the day, we can't, listen, those women have been victimized. So, listen, let's just say I'm pro-life, but there's a gray area in my pro-lifeness, I'm not going to sit up here and say that, women that, listen, I'm not going to sit up here and say that it's not a touchy subject. It's absolutely a touchy subject. But, we can't just, be pro-choice, especially, coming from a black man. I'm a black man. I live in a black community. you know, and when I go to every black community, you know what I see in every black community? I see a damn Planned Parenthood. So when it comes to the genocide of you know, black children, and you know, the Democrats placing these Planned Parenthoods in our communities, it's very sentimental to me, because I've seen it firsthand, and I don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever. So you know, it kind of pulls at the heartstrings as me. You know, kind of pulls at the heartstrings. But let's continue. Ban
on abortion after 15 weeks. In fact, you said if someone can't support legislation like that,
I'm not mixed up whatsoever.
quote,
I said that there's a gray area, and you know, I don't know how you're mixing me up when I've said it from the beginning. I said that in those cases. How are you mixing me up? If I said in the beginning that women are deserving of those rights if they've been victimized, how are you mixing me up? I said that consenting adults don't deserve that right. So you're not mixing me up whatsoever. I stand on that. I don't know how you're mixing me up, but okay. Whatever you say.
you are making the United States the most barbaric pro-abortion regime anywhere in the entire world. My question is, why have you changed your position?
Well, Nora, first of all, I never supported a national ban. I did, when I was running for Senate in 2022, talk about setting some minimum national standard. For example, we have a partial birth abortion ban in place in this country at the federal level. I don't think anybody's trying to get rid of that, or at least I hope not, though I know that Democrats have taken a very radical pro-abortion stance. But Nora, you know, one of the things that changed is in the state of Ohio, we had a referendum in 2023, and the people of Ohio voted overwhelmingly, by the way, against my position. And I think that what I learned from that, Nora, is that we've got to do a better job at winning back people's trust. So many young women would love to have families. So many young women also see...
If you have anything to add to the discussion, anything to add to the dialogue, please put it in the super chat. We put respect on the super chatters. Anything to add to the dialogue, please put it in the super chat. Please put it in the donation. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button.
An unplanned pregnancy is something that's going to destroy their livelihood, destroy their education, destroy their relationships. And we have got to earn people's trust back. And that's why Donald Trump and I are committed to pursuing pro-family policies, making childcare more accessible, making fertility treatments more accessible, because we've got to do a better job at that. And that's what real leadership is.
Governor, your response.
I'm going to respond on the pro-abortion piece of that. No, we're not. We're pro-women. We're pro-freedom to make your own choice. We know what the implications are to not be that. Women having miscarriages, women not getting the care, physicians feeling like they may be prosecuted for providing that care. And as far as making sure that we're educating our children and giving them options, Minnesota's a state with one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates. We understand that too. We know that the options need to be available, and we make that true. We also make it, we're a top 3 state for the best place to raise children. But these two things, to try and say that we're pro-children, but we don't like this, or you guys are pro-abortion, that's not the case at all. We are pro-freedoms for women to make their choices, and we're going, and Kamala Harris is making the case, to make options for children more affordable, a $6,000 child tax credit, but we're not going to base that on the backs of making someone like Amber Thurman drive 600 miles to try and get health care.
Senator.
May I respond to that? First of all, Governor, I agree with you. Amber Thurman should still be alive, and there are a lot of people who should still be alive, and I certainly wish that she was. And maybe you're free to disagree with me on this and explain this to me, but as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think, whether you're pro-choice or pro-abortion, that is fundamentally barbaric. And that's why I use that word, Nora, is because some of what we've seen, do you want to force Catholic hospitals to perform abortions against their will? Because Kamala Harris has supported suing Catholic nuns to violate their freedom of conscience. We can be a big and diverse country where we respect people's freedom of conscience and make the country more pro-baby and pro-family. But please.
Yes, Governor, please respond.
Look, this is one where there's always something there. This is a very simple proposition. These are women's decisions to make about their healthcare decisions, and the physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point. That's not it at all.
What was I wrong about, Governor? Please tell me. What was I wrong about?
That is not the way the law is written. Look, I've given
But
this.
how?
I've given this advice on
How was the law? How was the law written, Timmy? How was the law written, Timmy?
Oh, power rule? You going to bed, nigga.
We want to know.
Was fact-checked at the last debate. But the point on this is there's a continuation of these guys to try and tell women or to get involved. I use this line on this, just mind your own business on this. Things worked best when Roe versus Wade was in.
That doesn't work for America. That doesn't work for us. Minding your own business, that doesn't work for us, Timmy, Tampon Timmy. You know what I find so crazy about Tampon Timmy? Here you are you're putting tampons in the boys' room, in the boys' restroom. You ain't minding their business. You putting the tampons in the boys' restroom. But you telling everybody to mind their damn business when it comes to abortion rights. Here you are, you're forcing teenage boys to put, tampons up their badussy. But you want everybody else to mind their business when it comes to abortion rights. How bizarre is that? Now, mind your business. That's been his slogan. Mind your business. Mind your business. Oh, it's our business. It's our damn business, Tampon Timmy. You're damn right it's our business. You're damn right it's our business.
Place. When we do a restoration of Roe, that works best. That doesn't preclude us from increasing funding for children. It doesn't increase us from making sure that once that child's born, like in Minnesota, they get meals. They get early childhood education. They get health care. So the hiding behind we're going to do all these other things when you're not proposing them in your budget, Kamala Harris is proposing them. She's proposing all those things to make life easier for families.
I asked a specific question, Governor. You gave me a slogan as a response.
It's not the case. It's not true. That's not what the law says. So they fact-checked it with President Trump.
Gentlemen, there's a lot to discuss. We have to move on, and we're going to be right back with much more of the CBS News vice presidential debate in just a moment.
Tavika skip. In 1 second, Chuck. In 1 second.
We want to train our children and teens in America is by firearms. Senator Vance, you oppose most gun legislation that Democrats claim would curb gun violence. You oppose red flag gun laws and legislation to ban certain semi-automatic rifles, including AR-15s. So let me ask you, earlier this year, for the first time, the parents of a school shooter were convicted of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Do you
now, I agree with that. I think that if you have stupid parents that leave firearms around kids and they know their kids are dealing with mental issues, they know their kids have a personality that likes to hurt people. Pretty much, if you have parents that know that their kids are capable of something like that, they should absolutely be held accountable. When a situation like that happens, they should absolutely be held accountable. I'm in favor of kids' parents going to jail when a situation like that happens. I'm absolutely in favor of that.
think holding parents responsible could curb mass shootings. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, Nora, on that particular case, I don't know the full details, but I certainly trust local law enforcement and local authorities to make those decisions. I think in some cases the answer is going to be yes, and in some cases the answer is going to be no. And the details really matter here, of course. For example, if a kid steals a gun, that's going to be different than if a parent hands over a gun knowing that their kid is potentially dangerous. But look, I want to just sort of speak as a father of 3 beautiful little kids, and our oldest is now in 2nd grade. And like a lot of parents, we send our kids to school with such hope and such joy and such pride at their little faces on the first day of school. And we know, unfortunately, that a lot of kids are going to experience this terrible epidemic of gun violence. And of course, our hearts go out to the families that are affected by this terrible stuff. And we do have to do better. And I think that Governor Walz and I actually probably agree that we need to do better on this. The question is just, how do we actually do it? Now, here's something that really bothers me and worries me about this epidemic of violence. The gross majority, close to 90% in some of the statistics I've seen, of the gun violence in this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms. And while we're on that topic, we know that thanks to Kamala Harris's open border, we've seen a massive influx in the number of illegal guns run by the Mexican drug cartel. So that number, the amount of illegal guns in our country is higher today than it was 3.5 years ago. But what do we do about the schools? What do we do to protect our kids? And I think the answer is, and I say this not loving the answer, because I don't want my kids to go to school in a school that feels unsafe or where there are visible signs of security. But I unfortunately think that we have to increase security in our schools. We have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors stronger.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. I think that's a ridiculous statement. We have to make sure the doors are locked better. We have to make sure that, you know, the bulletproof glass. I mean, it sounds good, but it's like, I mean, I don't think that's realistic. But it's also not realistic to think that, you know, that we're going to take guns out of every American's home and that's going to be the answer. You know, I don't know what the answer is. But JD's Vance talking about we're going to lock the doors. We're going to make sure the doors are more locked. Stop it, JD Vance. Just stop it. You sound crazy with that one. That was crazy. We're going to make sure the doors are more locked and more secure. Like, come on, bro. What are you talking about? But it's a tough issue. It's a tough issue. In my opinion, I think that every school should have a designated a police officer that's that carries a firearm. So when those situations happen, they're trained to handle those situations. That would be my solution, to have a police officer. Because, I mean, we got a lot of these places, man. To be honest with you, man. I live in Long Island, right? I live in Long Island. Not a lot of crime. There's a little crime, but not a lot of crime. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, as much as these police officers make in some of these places, not all these places. Some of these places, a lot of crime, a lot of things they got to do. But in some of these places where these cops are working, I mean, they could afford to have one officer there to protect the school. Come on now. Y'all could afford to have one police officer there to protect the school, protect that area. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Some of these officers are overpaid. You know, they're working in these communities. There's not a lot of crime in these communities. Yeah, have some of these police officers, work in some of these schools and have them be stationed there.
We've got to make the windows stronger. And of course, we've got to increase school resource officers, because the idea that we can magically wave a wand and take guns out of the hands of bad guys.
I would do that. Okay. Somebody said, what else would you do? I would have police officers in every school. I'm going to be honest with you. Y'all not going to like some of the ideas I have. Some of my ideas might be deemed a little racial. But I'm going to be honest with you. There's a demographic to people who do that in school. There's a demographic, Because everybody, every other people, they love to pull demographics on black people, but there's a demographic when it comes to that type of crime. And if your school is predominantly white, you might need to have metal detectors at that school. If your school is predominantly white, you need to have metal detectors. When I was growing up in Long Island, it was predominantly black, predominantly Hispanic. We had metal detectors in our school. There needs to be every predominantly white school needs to have metal detectors. Keeping it a buck. I'm just keeping it a buck. Enrique, no, Kid Hogan. I'm just keeping it a buck. I mean, when it comes to that crime, we know the demographic. So if you're going to a school and it's predominantly white, there needs to be metal detectors. There needs to be a police officer stationed at that school. It needs to be more community action. I think the school. How about this? This is a good one. This is a good one. I think the school should know if a parent has a firearm in their house. That'll help a ton, because if there's a student, and let's say the student is, irrational, if the student isn't showing up to school, if he's a truant, if he's he's doing bad in school, if he's falling in with the wrong crowd, and the school knows this, the school have been monitoring his behavior, and the school knows this, and they know that student has a firearm in his home, has a firearm in his home, right? And they know that he's falling in with the bad crowd and he's a loner or whatever. That'll help the school be able to maneuver better. Because a lot of these situations, if you really see them, a lot of situations, it's that the school was kind of not, they wasn't paying attention to these kids. They wasn't paying attention. They was too focused on, black kids in the hallways. They was too focused on, a couple black kids, smoking a little reefer outside. They wasn't focusing on Timmy. I'm just keeping it a buck. We know the demographic for that crime. When it comes to the demographic for that crime, I think we should look into that. But I think universally, just keep it in a buck. Universally, I think that schools should know if a parent has a firearm in the house. I think that would help. If the school knew that a student had a firearm in their house, like, okay, your parent has this amount of guns in their home, so you're a high-risk student because we know that you have accessibility to a firearm. I think that would help tremendously, because those students, they could be monitored. Those students, they may have to be checked twice coming into school. I think universally that would help.
It just doesn't fit with recent experience, so we've got to make our schools safer, and I think we've got to have some common sense bipartisan solutions for how to do that.
Governor, you have 2 minutes.
Well, I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you. As a member of Congress, I sat in my office surrounded by dozens of the Sandy Hook parents, and they were looking at my 7-year-old picture on the wall. Their 7-year-old were dead, and they were asking us to do something. And look, I'm a hunter. I own firearms. The vice president is. We understand that the Second Amendment is there, but our first responsibility is to our kids to figure this out. In Minnesota, we've enacted enhanced red flag laws, enhanced background checks. And we can start.
You don't think it's a good idea for the school to know what kid has a firearm in their home? I think that's a great universal law, and I think that should apply to every student. Like whether you're a black kid, you have a firearm in your house. If you're a Hispanic, white, I think that the school should know that you have a firearm in your house because you're high risk. We know that you have accessibility to a firearm. You know, it's a little bit different then. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. I think the school should know, because the school, because think about it. How about this? Let's place it like this. We all been in high school. We all been in school before. We all know that they kept the special needs kids away from the other kids. They kept the special needs kids away from the other kids. Maybe we should look into that in terms of kids that have firearms in their homes. The special needs kids, they got out at a certain time. The special needs kids, they put them in a certain class. The special needs kids, they segregated them from the other kids. Maybe we should look into that in terms of kids that have firearms in their homes. You know? We segregate the special needs kids. Why can't we segregate the kids that have firearms in? If you're a kid and you have a firearm in your home, then you need to be treated specially. You need special treatment. It may not even be your fault. It may be your parents' fault. You may relatively be a good kid. But the fact that you have a firearm in your home, then you need to be treated a specific way. You know?
Hard to get data, but here's the problem. If we really want to solve this, we've got folks that won't allow research to be even done on gun violence. And this idea that we should just live with it, and here's what I do think, that this is a good start to the conversation. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree with that. But that's not far enough when we know there are things that worked. I've spent time in Finland and seen some Finnish schools.
This is America, Tim Walz. This is not Finland. And Tim Walz, we don't give a squirrel fart about what's going on in Finland. This is America. So I don't give a squirrel fart of what's going on in Finland. This is the home of the Whopper. Home of the brave. We stand up when we pee in America.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
I don't know about damn Finland. Yeah. Exactly, Enrique. He talking about Finland. We don't give a damn about what's going on in Finland. This is America.
This happen, even though they have a high gun ownership rate in the country. There are reasonable things that we can do to make a difference. It's not infringing on your Second Amendment. And the idea to have some of these weapons out there, it just doesn't make any sense. Kamala Harris, as an attorney general, worked on this issue. She knows that it's there. No one's trying to scaremonger and say we're taking your guns, but I ask all of you out there, do you want your schools hardened to look like a fort? Is that what we have to go when we know there's countries around the world that their children aren't practicing these types of drills?
Well, every country is not like America. America is a very special country. We're not like every other country. We don't have the year. We don't have the we don't have the history. America is relatively a new project. We're like a baby on the world stage. Bastardized child of England. So we're not like every other country. We're not like Finland or these other countries, like, these other, we're not like them. We're America. So it's going to be very different. It's going to be very, it's just not the same. It's just not the same. But at the end of the day, does something need to happen? Does something need to, give me 1 second, y'all. Let me send somebody to the block party. Give me 1 second. I'm sending a nigga to the block party because he talking a little crazy. Yeah. BLM. Yeah. We got a BLM officer in there. Had to send him to the block party. They happened to stumble upon this live after licking the Democratic boots. Yeah, but we're not Finland. This is America, man. This is America. We stand up when we pee in America. This is not Finland. I don't know what's going on in Finland. But America is not the same. This is a very different country, different history. I mean, the Second Amendment rights are awarded to every American. It's in our Constitution. It's in our laws. It's our naturalized right. Let's continue.
They're being kids. We owe it to them to get a fix. These are things that shouldn't be that difficult. You can still keep your firearms, and we can make a difference. We have to. If you're listening tonight, this breaks your heart.
Senator.
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting. I'm sorry about that, and I hope that he's doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful. And I appreciate what Tim said, actually, about Finland, because I do think it illustrates some of the frankly, weird differences between our own country's gun violence problem and Finland. Okay, first of all, we have way higher rates of mental health abuse, or mental health substance abuse. We have way higher rates of depression, way higher rates of anxiety. We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get to the root causes of, because I don't think it's the whole reason why we have such a bad gun violence problem, but I do think it's a big piece of it. Another driver of the gun violence epidemic, especially that affecting our kids, it doesn't earn as many headlines, but is the terrible gun violence problem in a lot of our big cities. And this is why we have to empower law enforcement to arrest the bad guys, put them away, and take gun offenders off the streets. I think there's a whole host of things that we can do here, but I do think at our schools we've got to talk about more security.
Senator, thank you. Governor, you previously opposed an assault weapons ban, but only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach guns.
Administration's plan, a major
centerpiece
of their campaign.
Give me 1 second, y'all.
I think that we're focused on the future. We need to figure out how to solve the inflation crisis caused by Kamala Harris's policy.
Expensive.
I think
a lot of what happened and the reason
we're going to try to get into the closing arguments, and we're going to wrap it up.
Obamacare was crushing under its own weight, helped address bad pre. They're going to pay with.
Give me 1 second, yeah.
Where we get people out. Look,
I think we're gonna get into the closing argument because it's getting kind of late. It's almost 3 in the morning. We'll get into the closing arguments, and we're gonna wrap this up.
Should employers be required to pay workers well?
Oh, this is something else. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. We're gonna get into the closing arguments, and we're gonna wrap this up tonight.
Fire! 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 Fire!
It's almost 3. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Damn.
3 or 4 months. Let's try by not paying people. I question taxes sometime.
Yeah, it's a lot to get to here. Hold on.
Other Republican presidents, the governors would.
For Kamala Harris, I want to use Trump, White Harris, years in the last $.
Damn, this shit was way further, huh? I'm trying to get to
accepting this.
I'm trying to get to the closing arguments. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. Trying to get to Tampon Timmy's closing arguments. Hold on one second. We're about to get to it.
Black woman. Welcome. Vance won the virtual coin toss and elected to go last. So, Governor Walz, you are first. You have 2 minutes.
We'll get to the closing arguments, all right?
Well, thank
Get
you,
kinda
Senator
late.
Vance. Thank you to CBS News. And most importantly, thank you to all of you. If you're still up and the folks who miss Dancing with Our Stars, I appreciate it. But look, the support of the democracy matters. It matters that you're here. And I'm as surprised as anybody of this coalition that Kamala Harris has built, from Bernie Sanders to Dick Cheney to Taylor Swift, and a whole bunch of folks in between there. And they don't all agree on everything, but they are truly optimistic people. They believe in a positive future of this country and one where our politics can be better than it is. And I have to tell you, that better than it is the sense of optimism that there can be an opportunity economy that works for everyone, not just to get by, but to get ahead. And the idea that freedom really means something. Not the freedom of government to be in your bedroom or exam room, but the freedom for you to make choices about yourself. Now, look, we all know who Donald Trump is. He's told us, and as Maya Angelou said, believe him when he told you that. His first inaugural address talked about American carnage, and then he spent 4 years trying to maybe do that. Senator Vance tonight made it clear he will stand with Donald Trump's agenda. He will continue to push down that road. Excuse me. Kamala Harris gives us a different option. Now, I'll have to tell you, I'm going to be careful about the quotes, but there's one that Senator Vance said that does resonate with me. He said, Donald Trump makes the people I care about afraid. A lot of America feels that way. We don't need to be afraid. Franklin Roosevelt was right. All we have to fear is fear itself. Kamala Harris is bringing us a new way forward. She's bringing us a politics of joy. She's bringing real solutions for the middle class, and she's centering you at the heart of that. All the while asking everyone, join this movement, make your voices heard. Let's look for a new day where everybody gets that opportunity and everybody gets a chance to thrive. I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th for Kamala Harris.
Governor.
I'm gonna give that speech and I'm gonna give it a D. I'm gonna give it a D minus.
Oh my God!
I give that speech, his closing speech, a D minus. Tampon Timmy, I wasn't feeling the speech. Wasn't feeling your closing remarks. Wasn't feeling it, Tampon Timmy. Let's get to JD Vance. I'm gonna give my grade for JD Vance as well. Let's continue.
Walz, thank you. Senator Vance, your closing statement.
Well, I want to thank Governor Walz, you folks at CBS, and of course the American people for tuning in this evening. And one of the issues we didn't talk about was energy. And I remember when I was being raised by my grandmother, when she didn't have enough money to turn on the heat some nights because Ohio gets pretty cold at night and because money was often very tight. And I believe, as a person who wants to be your next vice president, that we are a rich and prosperous enough country where every American, whether they're rich or poor, ought to be able to turn on their heat in the middle of a cold winter night. That's gotten more difficult thanks to Kamala Harris's energy policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford a nice meal for your family. That's gotten harder because of Kamala Harris's policies. I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford to buy a house. You ought to be able to live in safe neighborhoods. You ought to not have your communities flooded with fentanyl. And that, too, has gotten harder with because of Kamala Harris's policies. Now, I've been in politics long enough to do what Kamala Harris does when she stands before the American people and says that on day one, she's going to work on all these challenges I just listed. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years. Day one was 1,400 days ago, and her policies have made these problems worse.
Fire! 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 Fire!
I agree. I agree. I agree. That's an absolute Snapple fact.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
Let's continue.
Now, I believe that we have the most beautiful country in the world. I meet people on the campaign trail who can't afford food, but have the grace and generosity to ask me how I'm doing and to tell me they're praying for my family. What that has taught me is that we have the greatest country, the most beautiful country, the most incredible people anywhere in the world. But they're not going to be able to achieve their full dreams with the broken leadership that we have in Washington. They're not going to be able to live their American dream if we do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. We need change. We need a new direction. We need a president who has already done this once before and did it well. Please vote for Donald Trump. And whether you vote for me or vote for Tim Walz, I just want to say I'm so proud to be doing this, and I'm rooting for you. God bless you, and good night.
Senator Vance, thank you.
What should I give Timmy boy? I'm gonna give Timmy. Not my fault. I'm gonna give JD Vance. My fault. I'm gonna give JD Vance. I'm gonna give him a C. C plus. I'm gonna give him a C plus. I'm gonna give JD Vance a C plus on his speech. Before we get out of here, I wanna play one of my videos where I'm questioning Kamala Harris's blackness. I wanted to play this video. If this is your first time here, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, if this is your first time here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I did a video questioning Kamala Harris's blackness. Take a gander at this. You know, why you're in here?
That with the phenotype, a lot of people are relying on the phenotype. A lot of people are oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga. Maybe she's running the show.
I forgot I was on mute. My fault, y'all. Forgot I was on damn mute. But yeah, I did this video talking about who's running the country. I just want to play this video again. If this is your first time here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out my videos.
Oh, Pyro, you going to bed, nigga.
We do political videos. We do political content. This is a video of me talking about who's running the damn country. Let's get into this, and then we're gonna close out tonight.
Welcome to the check-in report, coming to you live and direct from the beautiful suburbs of Long Island. Today's topic: who's running the damn show? Who's running the damn country? Jim Crow Joe, Benadryl Joe, NyQuil Joe, DayQuil Joe, nighttime and daytime cough Joe. Who is running the damn show? We don't know who's running the damn show right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a clue. Who's running the damn show? Who's running the damn show? We can't say without a shot of a doubt. It's Jim Crow Joe doing, he's pulling the levers, he's pulling the show, he's running the show. We can't say without a, indisputable doubt that he's doing that. So my thing is this: like, what the hell? Who's running the damn show? Is it Kamala? Maybe Kamala, the pantsuit messiah? Maybe she's running the show. Maybe she's pulling the strings. Is it Nancy Pelosi? Is it Barack Obama? Who the hell is running the damn show? We don't know. I believe as an American people, though, we deserve a right to know. If Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, cannot do the job, if he's in office right now and he is mentally unstable, mentally incapable of running the show, then we need to know who is running the show right now. Who's in charge of those launch codes? Who's in charge of the military? Who's the one making things happen? Who's the one doing these things? We need to know, because we need to know who to blame. Right now, the Kamala Harris campaign are cloaking a lot of issues and, trying to use Joe Biden as like a lightning rod. They're trying to hide her like, oh, she had nothing to do with the economy. She had nothing to do with the inflation. She had nothing to do with immigrants pouring into the country. And they're trying to hide her while using, Jim Crow Joe as a lightning rod. Yeah, let's let Joe take all of the, the hits. Let's let Joe take all of the scrutiny, and But in reality, she was just as culpable. She's responsible, just as Jim Crow Joe. And we need to know as an American people who to blame. I've seen Kamala Harris on multiple rallies not take any accountability for what she did. She's blaming everyone. She's blaming the food industry for the high cost of groceries. She's blaming the banking company for the housing markets being in the shape the way it's in. She's blaming the insurance companies. She's blaming everyone, but she's not pointing fingers at herself. This is a woman that totally lacks accountability, totally lacks responsibility. This is a woman that had the job as a border czar, never showed up for the job, never showed up to the damn border. She recently went down to the border. People was looking around and asking, who is this? Who is this woman? I've never seen this woman before. Somebody tapped somebody on the shoulder and said, oh, that's the border czar. The border czar? Every time we go to the border czar's office, nobody's in there. They've been calling for 3 years about the border czar. Yeah, man.
I just wanted to play that. But with that being said, guys, we're going to call it a night. We're going to wrap it up. Hope you guys have been entertained as well as enlightened. I want to give a salute to Sinclair. I want to give a salute to Enrique. I want to give a salute to Slick Rick. Soundboard gang, salute to Slick Rick. And everybody that helped. And salute to Kid Hogan. Kid Hogan, he was in there turning up in there. Salute to Kid Hogan. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys get in the comment section of this video. Get in that comment section, turn up. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe the channel. Get in the videos. Turn up, man. Turn up in those videos. Let me know how you're feeling in those videos. We're going to do more political videos. More political lives. Like, comment, subscribe. But with that being said, I hope you guys have been entertained as well as enlightened. I am your host, True and Living. I am in the building. Remember, I am not your homie, but I am the one and only macaroni. I just like to say, I'm not your homie. I'm the one and only macaroni. But with that being said, guys, you guys have a blessed night. You guys have a productive week. And God willing, I'll see you guys tomorrow. God willing, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do another live. But with that being said, you guys have a blessed night. We are out. Toodles. We out.